Now, however, we're going to switch over to our field correspondent, Josephine Cheng. I've named her the Senior Hallway Bureau Chief. Josephine, great spot to reel in some researchers, right? Right there in the hallway.
I like that promotion. Can I
You're
get
welcome.
a raise too?
Yes.
Thank you. It is after lunch, so people are feeling really rejuvenated, and I've managed to snag in the hallway here Jack Stankovic from the University of Virginia. Welcome.
Thank you.
I know your specialty is in sort of the network of wireless sensors that are everywhere. I mean, they're in mechanical things like cars and airplanes, they're in healthcare systems, in the hospitals, and they're starting to be in the home.
Yeah, so I give a talk called Smart Homes, Smartphones, and Beyond. And so in that work, we're trying to establish the collection of physiological and behavioral information for elderly, and then we can use this to detect anomalies and detect, say, medical problems early. And this is really the future, I think. And the smartphone is also wellness, and we've developed techniques, for example, to control heart rate with music. And so you can really try to improve people's lives in this way.
And you were saying that with their phone, you could even target to within 10% of, like, if you were aimed for a specific heart rate to what's healthy, of course.
Right. So the idea is that if you're wandering around and your heart rate is too high and you're not doing anything and it shouldn't be high, then we would recommend music to lower it. And if you're doing cardiovascular exercises, then you have specific heart rates you want to achieve. And so we would also be able to achieve those heart rates for you.
I see. And then as far as the home, I mean, our homes are getting smarter all the time with smart appliances and so forth. But you're also talking about sort of tracking or monitoring people's behaviors and emotional states?
Yes. And, well, by taking different kinds of parameters about the person's, say, voice, their skin conductance, and many other factors, you can detect what behaviors they're doing and how they feel about it. From voice, you can get mood and stress. So you can take all of these factors into account and getting a big picture of a human being. And we found that it takes, even for elderly who are not that active, say, we end up with, say, 10 to 35 models that describe a person's behaviors and emotional states.
And that way you can tell when something is different, when something's off.
That's right. And the real trick, though, is to avoid too many false alarms. So any system, if you deploy it, and it requires lots of results in lots of false alarms, then nobody's going to use the system.
Right, so crying wolf too many times.
Right, yeah. So we have a very sophisticated semantic anomaly detection scheme that will determine when a false alarm is really a false alarm. And it includes semantic rules, and it's probably, I think, the most sophisticated system available.
Interesting. Well, you know, Harry Shim was talking about how we all have so many devices now, like up to 27 devices per person. So how do you avoid, like, one set of sensors telling you one thing and another set of sensors telling you something else?
Right. So our vision is that a home would be a sensing and actuation infrastructure would be a utility, like electricity or water. And then people will build applications and run those applications on the system. Now, what we've thought about is you can think of this as the right app doesn't know what the left app is doing.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing is identifying how apps interfere with each other automatically and try to detect and resolve inconsistencies. So you wouldn't have one app opening the window, like to say to improve the air quality in the house for medical purpose, and another app closing it for energy. And the window's going up and down, up and down.
Right.
So our schemes help detect those conflicts and resolve those conflicts, and they will happen more and more often as more apps are put into homes.
I can see how this is great for people who want to age in their home. You know, this is a real trend these days. People do not want to go to nursing homes. They want to stay in their homes. And having a smart home can really enable people to do that.
That's absolutely true. And I think this is the first case where technology can actually lower medical costs.
Yeah?
Almost all other medical devices increase costs. They may improve your health, but they increase costs. And here, I think there's a chance of reducing costs. So not only staying in your home is more amenable to people, but it's going to be a lot less expensive than putting them in nursing homes or assisted living even.
Right, and also sometimes that detecting problems early, you can treat it earlier.
Yes, absolutely. And you want to form the systems into a wellness version so that people are healthier longer, and if problems are happening, then the system needs to be adaptable to that, and people's medical conditions change. So you can't build a system that simply looks for depression, for example, because later they may have Parkinson's disease. And so you need to be able to have a system that evolves as a person's medical condition gets better or worse.
That sounds fantastic. How far down the road are we looking? When are we going to see these things? Smart homes.
Some of them are there now, but they are somewhat limited in the sense, what I call, that they don't address realisms very well. And what I mean by that is take an acoustic sensor that's listening for voice to detect mood. Well, we have very strong signal processing algorithms that can do that in quiet environments. But you put it in a home,
right,
and you have a bus driving by, you have the TV on, so then the signal processing algorithms tend to fall apart unless you have good filters and other techniques to handle realisms.
So we have to deal with that, maybe in a few years, huh?
Well, at some levels, you can start to see results even today.
Oh, okay.
And there are thousands of homes now with smart sensing for elderly. But again, they're somewhat limited in detecting falls or some simpler simpler problems.
Important work, though. Thank you so much, Jack. I appreciate you talking with us
You're very
about
welcome.
this. All right. We're also trying to snake more researchers as they come by. Here, Manuel, come over here. Hi. This is Manuel Hermenegildo from Madrid, Spain.
That is correct.
Welcome.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes.
Welcome to Redmond, Washington. I know that you work with IMDEA Software Institute, which also does joint research with Microsoft. Tell us about IMDEA. What does it do?
We are a research center in Madrid, which we concentrate on building the tools and the techniques and the science, the technology that is necessary to build tools to help programmers build applications that we can trust, applications that that preserve our privacy, that we can that don't break on us, that don't end up giving us the wrong data, etc. So how to do that in an efficient way, in a cost-effective way.
So you build the tools for software engineers, software developers, and programmers to be able to do their work. How about your research in particular? What do you focus on?
That's correct. Well, we work in the Microsoft IMDEA Research Center, the Joint Research Center, which is a very exciting development that is very recent. As far as our own research, we work on energy analysis, energy consumption analysis. We work in a lot of topics on programming language and so on, but energy is probably the most exciting thing we're doing.
Really?
Right now.
Like what? What is the energy consumption analysis you're doing?
Energy is a big concern. It's if you think from large computing centers to small devices, you're worried about how much it's costing to consume so much energy, how much you're heating the environment, or you're running out of battery on your wearable device. So it's a very big deal. An exciting thing is that the savings that you can do in energy consumption come a lot from the software. I mean, a lot of it can be done by the hardware, but a lot can also be done on the software side. So that's what we work on. This is joint work with Pedro Lopez there in Madrid, and with Exmos and also Bristol. And what we do is we have models of how much energy individual instructions need, and then we integrate that over the whole program and get functions that tell you how much the program consumes. And that allows you to do things like have specifications of how much energy this has to consume and verify them, or find energy bugs. So this program has a bug because it's using too much energy. Or how can I optimize this program so that in my timing constraints, I only use the minimum amount of memory. And that might require lowering the voltage or going slower, etc., etc. So we try to give programmers tools to be able to do this in a very simple way, just pushing a button the same way we check types nowadays, for example.
That's good. I wish there was these institutes for all kinds of professions. But programmers, their work is a little bit changing because the amount of data that's out there and the amount of computers they have to program for. Does that change the work that they do and how they do their work?
Oh, these tools are absolutely game changing, I think, because there's been a tremendous advance in the quality or the complexity of the properties that we can check. The programming language has also evolved a lot, obviously. But these environments and the analysis and verification tools that we are starting now to build and to progress, they really have changed, like I said, the game in the sense that programmers now are much more confident, can much faster find bugs. They can also, and we're much closer to the elusive goal of having oral software being certified. This is one of the main focuses of this joint research center that we have with Microsoft, where we do things like this. We do verification, we do cryptography, we do privacy analysis, we do memory models, concurrency, and web security, malware detection, etc. So there are things aimed at making building the confidence of the user in the software.
Right. So do you like coming to the faculty summit because it lets you have access, and you could hear from so many of the people who are working on, who are going to be using your products too?
Oh yeah.
Your process.
There's a lot of interesting people here. It's really a very good selection of top people in computer science, in IT in general, and it's a great opportunity to work with people at Microsoft and outside Microsoft to start collaboration, to continue previous collaborations. So yeah, it's exciting to be here.
Do you get new ideas when you're, among intellectual peers like this?
Oh yeah, that's why we come to these conferences, of course. Yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah. Every time we come to a conference like this, we start, around the table, we had some ideas and papers, ideas, prototypes come out all the time. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of the faculty summit. It's a pleasure talking with you, Manuel.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure talking to you.
All right.